Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sassy Pants, wife to Matty the rancher, and I'll be your storyteller today. Welcome to Adventures with Sodak Pete, stories that celebrate the hard work, big hearts, and wide open spaces of ranch life. Out here, every day's an adventure, and we hope each and every one of you listening can imagine yourself as little Sodak Pete, learning the ropes, getting your hands a little dirty, and helping out wherever you can. So grab your boots, tip your hat, and let's see what today's adventure has in store. Sodak Pete, Rakin and Balin at the ranch. It was a quiet, sunny morning at the ranch cabin. Sodak Pete pulled on his boots, he grabbed his hat, and he steps outside with Millie close behind. The air smelled like sunshine and hay. Pete stretched his arms and he looked around. Matty came out with his coffee and he tipped his hat. "Morning, Pete. Looks like a good day to make some hay," he said. Pete grinned. "Is it time to rake and bale?" Matty chuckled. "Almost. We gotta check and see if that hay's dry enough. We don't want moldy bales, you know." Pete nodded. "Let's go see." Pete ran back inside the cabin and he grabbed his water jug and his walkie-talkie. He was ready for a big day. Millie wagged her tail and she trotted right behind him. Matty was already walking out to the hayfield, boots crunching on the dirt path. "We cut this hay a few days ago," Matty said. "Let's see if it's dry enough to rake and bale today." Pete bent down and he kind of picked around in the hay and grabbed a handful. It felt crisp and light. He looked up at Matty. "This is ready, right?" Matty nodded in agreement. "It's ready." Out to the hayfield they went. The tractor was already hooked up to the rake and ready to roll. Matty climbed in and he gave the seat a pat. "Hop in, Pete." It was a big, rugged, 10-wheel V-rake with curved arms that looked like a really big folding spider. Pete climbed into the tractor with Matty, water jug in one hand and his walkie-talkie in the other. "This rake rolls 2 windrows together into one big, deep roll," Matty told Pete. "It fills the baler quicker, so we have less trips up and down the field. It's kind of ranch-friendly, you know." Pete grinned as the tractor rumbled across the field. He watched the wheels spin and the hay curl into tidy rows behind them. After raking for a while, Pete said, "This is awesome." Matty smiled. "You want to give it a try?" Pete smiled and his eyes lit up. "Really?" Matty kept raking for a little while longer, pointing things out as they rode along. "See how those wheels are turning," he said. "If one quits, we're going to miss some hay." Pete nodded. "Got it." Matt pointed behind them. "You want clean ground, no hay left behind. And if too much builds up in the middle, the back can plug up. You gotta keep your eyes open, Pete." Pete leaned forward and he watched the hay spin and swirl into rows. After a while, Matty grinned. "All right, Pete, it's your turn." Pete slid over into the driver's seat and his hands were gripping the wheel. Matty stayed right beside him. "Nice and steady," he said. "Pete, you got this." Pete drove nice and slow. His eyes were bouncing between the spinning wheels and the row behind him. He turned his head front and back, right and left, looking everywhere, making sure he was watching everything real close. "Matty, is that wheel turning okay?" he said. Matty leaned out and he gave a thumbs up. "Yep, keep her steady." Pete squinted at the ground. "Ooh, what if I leave some hay behind?" "Just steer a little closer next time," Matty said. "You're doing great." After a bit, Matty clicked on his walkie-talkie and he said, "All right, Pete, take her for a couple rounds on your own. I'll be right here watching." Pete grinned and he nodded, raking with focus and care as Matty encouraged him from the side of the field with the walkie-talkie. After the last row was raked, Pete jumped out of the tractor with a big, wide grin. He was so excited he could hardly stand still. He grabbed his walkie-talkie and he clicked the button. "Breaker, breaker, guess what? I just ran the raking tractor all by myself." "Oh yeah, we're ready for some lunch too," he said with a grin. Matty chuckled. "Make sure to tell her we've got hungry ranchers out here." "Copy that," Pete said. 2 hungry ranchers, ready for sandwiches." Before long, I rolled up with a cooler full of lunch and a smile. Pete chattered away, bubbling with stories about driving the tractor all by himself as we sat on the tailgate eating sandwiches in the hayfield, and Millie was curled up in the shade. While the windrows dried a little more, Matty leaned back and he looked at the sky. "Just about time," he said. "That hay's looking perfect." Pete wiped his hands and he jumped to his feet. Let's go baling. Matty started up the tractor. Pete climbed in beside him, ready to bale. The baler rumbled behind them, tough and ready to roll, scooping up the windrows and spitting out the big round bales. Look at that, Pete said, pointing to the first bale, nice and even across the top, nice and tight in the middle. Matty nodded. Perfectly dried, too. This is some of the best hay we've put up this year, Pete. Gonna make great feed for the cattle this winter. Pete watched each bale roll out, one after another. We've got a lot of hay out here. Sure do, said Matty, thankful for the weather and thankful it cooperated with us. They rode together up and down the field, visiting and baling. As the evening settled in, the sun dipped over a field full of fresh round bales. Pete leaned back in the seat and let out a big, that was a lot of hay. Matty chuckled. You did a fine job today, Pete. They rolled back toward the ranch yard, dust trailing right behind the tractor. All three of them, Pete, Matty, and Millie, sitting on the porch steps, boots dusty, smiling easy, and excited about a big day of work. Pete held a glass of lemonade and gave Millie a little pat. Rakin was really fun, he said. I'm sure glad I got to drive the tractor today. Matty nodded. The good Lord is sure generous. Good weather, good hay, and good people. I nodded. So much to be thankful for. Thanks for riding along with us today. Sodak Pete and I hope you'll join us on our next adventure.